Thank you all for tuning into Big Mama Story Time. Story Time! Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment to my page. Here we go. Hi guys, thank you all for tuning in to Big Mama Story Time on today. Today I will be reading to you all 102 Dalmatians. All right guys, I have did 101 Dalmatians and this is 102. Let's get into this. After spending years in prison for puppy napping, Cruella de Vil was free. She was now a changed woman. By undergoing a special treatment, she had learned to love dogs and hate furs. Clutching her dog, Fluffy, Cruella ordered her assistant, Alonzo, to gather up her furs and her Dalmatian puppy coat design. Then she had him throw them into a secret room in her mansion. Lock them away. Bury them beyond sight and memory, Cruella shouted to Alonzo. But had Cruella really changed? Her probation officer, Chloe, didn't think so. It was Chloe's job to check up on the released prisoner. Chloe's Dalmatians were upset too when they learned Cruella was free. After all, they had just welcomed 3 adorable puppies into the world. Chloe promised her dogs Dipstick and Dottie that she'll be keeping her eye on Cruella. Chloe and her dogs weren't the only ones with worries. Kevin, a young man who ran the Second Chance dog shelter, had worries too. The shelter was closing because it had run out of money. Kevin had several dogs of his own and a parrot named Wattlesworth. The bird wouldn't fly because he thought he was a dog. Wasn't real. Don't worry, everything will be all right, Kevin told his pals. But he didn't know how to save the shelter. Imagine Kevin's surprise when Cruella arrived at the shelter one day. This place and I were made for each other, Cruella told Kevin. She bought the shelter on the spot. Within days, Cruella had repaired and redecorated the entire shelter. She even came every day to groom the dogs. Kevin was thrilled, but Chloe was suspicious and kept visiting the shelter to keep an eye on Cruella. People like Cruella don't change, Chloe told Kevin. Time passed. Chloe's puppies grew and got their spots, except for little Oddball, who remained pure white. But Oddball kept trying to get spots. One day, Chloe brought the puppies to her office while trying to get spots from a copier machine. Little Oddball fell out of the window. At that moment, Chloe happened to be meeting with Cruella. Suddenly, Chloe looked up and saw Oddball outside. Chloe quickly ran to the window and hauled the puppy inside to safety. Just then, London's huge clock, Big Ben, began to chime. It echoed through the open window. Bong, boing, bong. Unfortunately, Big Ben's chimes reversed the treatment Cruella had undergone in prison. Strange things started happening. An odd smile twisted her mouth. Her hair stood on end. Spots danced before her eyes. The evil, fur-loving Cruella was back. Uh-oh, guys. Uh-oh. Cruella raced home. She tore open her secret room and grabbed her Dalmatian puppy fur coat design. My Dalmatian puppy coat, the coat of dreams, the ultimate fur coat, Cruella shrieked. Alonzo, we're going to make them pay. She would have her coat at last and punish those who had put her in prison for so long. Cruella dashed off to see the famous fur fashion designer, Jean-Pierre Lepelt. She showed him her coat design. They agreed that 102 puppies would be just the right number for their gorgeous hooded Dalmatian puppy coat. Uh-oh, he back to it. She is back to it, guys. That didn't help. Second chance, my Aunt Sally, guys. Cruella immediately set her evil plans in motion. First, she had Alonzo steal puppies from all over town. She told him to hide some of the stolen Dalmatians at the second chance shelter. Then Cruella called the police to have Kevin arrested for puppy napping. While Chloe looked on in shock, Kevin protested. "This is crazy," he said. "Why would I steal Dalmatians?" But the police took Kevin and his pets to jail. Wow. And she the one in the black and white, guys. Come on now. Next, Cruella told LaPelt to steal Chloe's puppies. She invited Chloe and Dipstick to a party to keep them out of the way. Chloe and her dog arrived at Cruella's mansion. Other guests had also brought their dogs, and dinner quickly got out of hand. Dogs started to climb on tables, step on plates, and splatter food on everyone. In the middle of everything, Cruella's dog, Fluffy, barked timidly. He wanted to warn Dipstick and Chloe of Cruella's plans. The pair followed him to the secret fur room. Chloe peeked inside the room and gasped when she saw the fur coat design. "The puppy coat!" cried Chloe. Her puppies were in danger. Just then, Cruella appeared. "Goodbye, my dear," Chloe hissed. She shoved Chloe into the room and locked the door. Dipstick managed to get away. While Fluffy worked to free Chloe, Dipstick rushed home to save his family. Run home, Dipstick. Run home. Back at Chloe's, LaPelt was chasing Dottie and the puppies from room to room. He smashed chairs, scattered books, and broke lamps. As the designer reached for Oddball, she darted to a window and barked for help. LaPelt finally grabbed the puppy and stuffed her into his bag, but another puppy nearby had heard her yelps for help. Oh, it was Oddball. Look at Oddball. He trying to help. Bark, bark, bark by bark. Oddball's call was passed from puppy to puppy. The twilight bark echoed across London. Kevin's parrot, Waddlesworth, heard it in jail. He understood that Chloe's puppies needed help, so he took the keys from a sleeping guard and freed Kevin and the dogs. Together they raced towards Chloe's home. Dipstick had also heard the twilight bark. This made him run even faster. I know that's right. Get there, get there, get there. Chloe and Kevin reached Chloe's home at the same time. The mess was terrible. But worst of all, Dottie and the puppies had been stolen. How will we ever find them? Chloe thought. Kevin's dogs pawed through the debris. Finally, with an excited woof, they uncovered a train ticket. It was LaPelt's. "Paris, the Orient Express at 10, Chloe cried, looking at the ticket. "We can just make it. We can just make it." Meanwhile, Dipstick was almost home when he heard familiar barking coming from a truck. Dipstick knew it was his family. He quickly leaped onto the truck. The truck stopped at an alley outside the train station. When the truck's door opened, Dipstick lunged. He landed in Alonzo's arms, but after a struggle, Alonzo managed to shove Dipstick into a crate. Cruella was taking the puppies by train to LaPelt's workshop in Paris, but when she pulled Oddball from the bag, Cruella dropped the white puppy. "A rat!" Cruella shouted. "I asked for spotted dogs." Oddball scampered off into the train station. "Find that dog and get rid of it!" Cruella screamed at Alonzo. Racing through the station, Oddball dodged suitcases and ducked past feet. Alonzo puffed after her. Finally, he gave up and boarded the train to join Cruella and LaPelt. His truck, Cruella's car, and all the dogs were already aboard. "You took care of that rat?" Cruella asked him. "You will never see it again," Alonzo replied. Yeah, because the train gone, he think. The train began to move. Eyeball ran after it, trying to jump aboard. Just then, Chloe, Kevin, and his pets arrived and saw Eyeball on the tracks. "She'll be killed!" Chloe cried out. It was then that Waddlesworth flew for the first time in his life. The bird snatched up Eyeball and landed inside the train with a thump. Waddlesworth and Eyeball found Cruella's car on the train. They both hid inside it, not knowing what to do next. The train rumbled on through the night. Once in Paris, Cruella and LaPelt drove to LaPelt's workshop in her car. Alonso took the dogs along in his truck. As they rode along, the puppies barked the twilight bark to the dogs of Paris. Soon, Chloe, Kevin, and his pets arrived in Paris too. The Parisian dogs led them straight to LaPelt's workshop. They some nice colored dogs. Meanwhile, Waddlesworth and Eyeball had slipped into the workshop unnoticed by the workers. The noise of the workers' sewing machines filled the room. Luckily, Eyeball could hear the other dogs in the cellar, but how would they ever get them out? Waddlesworth noticed a hole in the floor. If he could just make it larger, he decided, the puppies could escape through it. The parrot began to bite the soft wood with his sharp beak. When Kevin and Chloe reached LaPelt's workshop, they sneaked into the cellar through a trap door. Their pets greeted them joyfully. But then Cruella poked her head through the trap door. "Aren't you in a tight spot?" she cackled as she slammed the door shut. The lock turned. Now everyone was trapped. Well, almost everyone. Oh, you still forgetting about Eyeball? Is that what's going on? At that moment, Waddlesworth stuck his beak through the hole he had chewed. "Psst! Up here!" the bird whispered. Working swiftly, Chloe and Kevin began passing the puppies up through the hole in the floor. Upstairs, Eyeball led the puppies to a door. It was locked. Desperately looking for another way out, she headed up a staircase. One by one, the puppies climbed the creaking stairs. It seemed as if they might get away when Cruella spotted them. "It's the little rat!" Cruella screamed when she saw Eyeball. She turned towards Alonzo. "You lied to me, you worm!" She raced after the puppies. "You are a wormy little man," LaPelt agreed. Alonzo had had enough. He wanted to help the dogs. Alonzo tackled the fashion designer. Back and forth the two men wrestled until, woof! Alonzo had the arms of LaPelt's coat stitched together by one of the workers. With LaPelt in it, the designer stumbled and fell through the hole Waddlesworth had made in the floor. LaPelt was stuck in the hole. Alonzo rushed to the trap door. He opened it and set Kevin, Chloe, and the rest of the dogs free. "I know that's right, Alonzo. Go ahead, help out them dogs." In the meantime, Cruella was still chasing the puppies. She followed them up the stairs, across the attic, and out of the window. Eyeball urged the puppies across a narrow bridge to the bakery. Next door, Cruella tore after them. "This time, it's personal," she screamed. Inside the bakery, the puppies dashed to safety as Eyeball tried to hold off Cruella. But Cruella wouldn't be stopped. Grabbing a cable, she swung across the room, accidentally hitting a button with her foot. Clank, clank. The baking machinery came to life. Uh-oh, y'all. Cruella lost her grip on the cable and fell into a huge mixing bowl of cake batter. The giant mixer bowl moved along a conveyor belt. Ah! Cruella yelled as eggs splattered down upon her head. Blah! Huh! Cruella sputtered as she was covered with flour and milk. Round and round the mixing bowl turned. It churned Cruella into a mass of gloopy, gluey dough. When it tipped over and poured, Cruella grew into a huge cake pan. The cake was ready for baking. By now, Chloe and Kevin had arrived. Yapping joyfully, the dogs and their friends were reunited. Not long after, ding! The oven door opened and the cake came out with the crusty Cruella in the middle. Jumping on tubes of icing, the puppies decorated the Cruella cake. What fun! Outside the bakery, the Paris police were waiting to take a crumbly Cruella off to jail once again. The pelt was stuck from the hole and arrested too. Everyone else was soon back in London. All right, that's what's up. I know that's right. A few weeks later, Alonzo and Fluffy showed up at the Second Chance shelter with a big surprise. I asked if I could have the pleasure of delivering this. Alonzo began. Cruella had been forced to give her entire fortune to the dogs. Judge's orders, Alonzo added. Everyone cheered. The dogs would be safe now. But little Eyeball barked the loudest. Everyone looked up to see her sitting happily in the doll sculpture at the front of the shelter. Soon they could see why she was so happy. The brave little puppy fur was no longer pure white. Eyeball had gotten her spots at last. Oh, that's what's up. Look at her. And all happy. Y'all see her right here? She got her little spot. Ain't that much, but it is a spot. All right, guys, that is the end of 102 Dalmatians. I thank you all for tuning in to Big Mama Story Time. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my page if you haven't done so already. All right, guys, thank you all. Bye.